Welcome to the Virtual Ball Boys podcast. My name is Chris, and I am joined once again by my good friend Matt.
Nothing really matters. Anyone can see. Nothing really matters to me.
I just want to point out about a half hour before we hopped on here. I got a text from Matt that said, also, I know our emotions are still raw about it, but we could avoid being too overly, quote, woe is me about the games. I appreciate that. just want to throw that out there real quick. Before we already set the tone in that direction. just to be real. Well, but I appreciate the rendition.
It's a beautiful evening.
Yeah. But you know what? I gotta say, I understand it's overplayed. I still like Bohemian Rhapsody. I still think it's a great song. I still enjoy it a lot.
I went through that phase of being like, oh, Bohemian Rhapsody is overrated. I think it's one of the most finely crafted musical theory songs to analyze.
Yes.
Plus, it's just a fucking banger to sing.
It is.
It's incredible. It's just so good. I want to shout out a YouTube channel called 12 Tone, the number 12 and then the word tone, who does phenomenal music theory videos. Really like his stuff. But the things I really like about him is that he analyzes a bunch of rock type music, and just general pop stuff. So my favorite ones that I want to shout out are Bohemian Rhapsody, Welcome to the Black Parade, and what was the other one? Carry On Wayward Son.
Oh my god, those are all three so good.
Yeah.
Such good songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I legitimately, I love songs that are just so range in go so far to be different. And Carry On My Wayward Son, I feel like that does kind of that has some differentiating, but Welcome to the Black Parade is such a good example of starting out the nice and slow and then building into this fucking rock opera, and a Bohemian Rhapsody, which is kind of a similar vibe, but having this very weird middle section that just you're what's happening, and you want to study it further, and it's just it's all of it. It's music's good. Music's real good. Well, here we are. We are recording this podcast a day after the conference championship games. Usually we would not do this because we have typically record later in the week because we want to usually there's games the following week where we want to get injury information. We want to get some news. We want other things to come up so that way we have more to talk about. But it's a weird week. It's Pro Bowl week. Plus we didn't really have anything grand planned for it, and plus Matt's busy this week. So
yep. I literally happened to have a commitment Tuesday through Friday this week. It's nuts.
Yeah, so I was just you know what? Let's just record it now. We have no reason to wait for this, and if there's any news that we miss, we'll get it next week. It's fine. We have there's literally nothing else going on. But I Matt, we usually would start off by talking about the games, going into details about the games. If I'm being honest, I don't really want to do it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't really want to talk. I don't want to talk about the games. I think that anyone who has listened to this podcast, at this point, you have to understand where we are in terms of we're just two guys that talk about football like literally many other people. It's not. We're not that different, but we're at this point, if you're listening to us and you're sticking with us, you just care about us to some degree, and so we're just gonna chat. And I feel like, Matt, for you, I always front much of my pessimism about sports to the forefront.
Yeah.
But you're on the opposite side of me, where you tend to try to put on this optimism for sports, and to get very excited about it. I know that this Sunday kind of was rough. For you, I guess, just surface level, what are your feelings coming out of Sunday in general?
disappointment. The fact that it was like double-handed,
Yeah.
Was not awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know I do this, and you know, like fucking social media the past week leading up to this game. I don't know if you saw the edit of the fucking Star Wars thing where it was like the Chiefs had the Sith lightsaber, and then every logo in sports and companies and everything else possible known to man was on the Ravens side.
Yeah,
with the blue lightsaber.
The one I saw that was the which I think you sent it to me, which was the I don't know Star Wars well, but I'm guessing like the good side being like Patrick Mahomes when he first came into the league and facing the Patriots, and then it's this picture of Darth Vader being like they paid Patrick Mahomes now. And it's just like yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
Yep. So like it wasn't just me, obviously, or you. Like everyone was fucking rooting for the Ravens, and everyone was rooting for the Lions. Nobody wanted to see 49ers Chiefs.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, at least we're suffering together.
Yes, exactly.
And yeah, I don't know. I was more invested in the first game because I still at least like the 49ers as a team.
Right.
Obviously, the heartbreaking part of it, like if it was a close game all throughout, or if it was a even just a blowout by the Niners, I don't think it would feel as bad as it did.
Right.
But with the Lions ahead as much as they were, and that being whether they're somewhat their own fault taken away from them, that's what hurt.
Yeah, the 49ers don't deserve this, but I legitimately, when I was watching that game and watching the 49ers come back in that game, I literally at so many moments during the game was just like, how are they doing this? How is this happening? And every single time the Lions had some sort of fuck up, I was just like, how is this happening? How did we get to this point? And it reminded me so much of 51. It reminded me so much of that game, because that's how I felt at every moment watching that game, or at least during the second half, at least. And it was just like, oh my god, they had him, and I had a bad feeling about it when Dan Campbell decided to kick the extra point or kick the field goal at the end of this first half. I was just like, oh, I hope that does not come back to bite him. And then just
see, that's not the Dan Campbell decision that killed them, and not even the. I don't even think the going in on fourth was like the ultimate killer.
Yes, no,
but
there's and people are pointing it out and saying, you know, Dan Campbell fucked up on many ways. But you know what though, like yes, he made some errors in judgment, but I still like him as a coach. The Lions would not be there if it weren't for him and everything that he's done. And it's just kind of like, I feel bad that there is going to be people just ragging on his like aggressive style. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that's just kind of what the Lions are.
Good shit.
And it just kind of feels like, I feel like people are just being like, trying to like, let their frustration out at this point about how that game ended. But regardless, putting that aside, I think for me, it was one of the tougher conference Sundays that I can remember, in terms of just like, you walked away and you're like, I didn't really have any fun. I didn't enjoy any of that. That was brutal. Yeah. And there's a part, and then I kind of like, you do start to think about it a lot. You're like, oh man, like I wish I could be that person that could sit here and have more of an appreciation for what we have in terms of football, right? Because I consider myself a football fan. I consider myself someone who loves the sport. I love it enough where we do podcasts about it. We're making picks, and we're participating in any kind of capacity. And yeah, I don't appreciate the greatness that's in the sport, because when it is prolonged, or it is in the space for too long, it kind of like, it feels like you're just seeing the same story repeat over and over again, which is why I was making the joke last week of like, oh yeah, it was just they were replaying the 2021 game between the Bills and Chiefs, like that, because that's how you feel watching it. And it's like, I think a lot of people who love the sport, there's definitely quite a few people who do love the greats. I do love seeing people just keep on chasing the same teams chasing the titles because they have an appreciation for teams doing that because it's difficult to do. And I don't want to take anything away from them, but I think the vast majority of people would look at what happened on Sunday as like, so the team that has been in the Super Bowl for the last 5 years, the team that has made the NFC Championship game for the last 5 years, and seeing these two teams face each other again, it's like, all right. I mean, I guess we've done this before, but all right. And I think that's just where the disappointment is. But I will say this, like, I don't hate the Chiefs. It's just the frustration of seeing them again and again and again. Yeah. And that just gets frustrating. But I do think it's very poetic that we look at this game and I think how kind of like, that's not a fun Super Bowl. That's a very predictable Super Bowl. Like I saw there was one analyst that was like gloating online about like how he predicted the Chiefs over 49ers in the Super Bowl back in September. I was like, yeah, good for you, sir. You predicted the two most likely teams to make the Super Bowl before the kickoff. You're so smart. We bow down to you. Anyways, it's just like we like to see new things. We like to see new things come to the table, but there is something nice. Nice is not the right word, but like it's fascinating looking at the parallels between where we were back in 2019 when these two teams met and where we are now. Because this back then it was this AFC team in Patrick Mahomes that has not been who has not won a Super Bowl since the Super Bowl 4, and he's leading a Chiefs team that we had seen for year in year out constantly be out of the playoffs, one and done, and finally they had Patrick Mahomes on the team and they made it to the AFC Championship game. Once faced Brady knocked them out, and this time they finally got over the hump. And then you had a 49ers team that had been a couple years since they had made the Super Bowl, and it was with Jimmy G and Kyle Shanahan, who's been widely regarded as this amazing head coach and who's been this inspiration. And the fact that he gets his first Super Bowl and he gets to hopefully overcome the storyline that happened in 2016 with Super Bowl 51, and like there is so much fascination with that game. And I look at this, it's amazing how in 5 years' time, we're now back in the repeat, and it just feels so much like not as interesting. But because of that, it is interesting. Like, it's a weird thing. Like, it's the fact that, like, the Chiefs are we now are in a world where the Chiefs are chasing a dynasty. They get this Super Bowl, it's locked. That's a dynasty. We will look back on the Chiefs, the 2020s, as one of the many dynasties in the NFL. And then you look at the 49ers, who haven't gotten over the hump, have never won a Super Bowl, or have not won a Super Bowl in this iteration, with Kyle Shanahan leading the way, but has just been such in our orbit. It has been in the postseason a lot, has made it to the championship a lot, so we kind of just know this team. We're used to this team. And I do think that what is different about this 49ers team is that you have a guy like Brock Purdy, who is the seventh rounder, Mr. Irrelevant, playing very well right now in the postseason and proving that he deserves to stay as the quarterback as the 49ers. And you do have, I forget even if there were, like, did Deebo Samuel play in he was not even in the league in 2019, I don't think, right? Like, so
no, he's gotta have been.
I feel like he was newer back then, but or like
he was in the 2019 draft.
He was 2019.
So he was a rookie.
He was
season. He was a rookie that season.
Yeah. But like I feel like you are seeing like newer faces kind of come to the front for the 49ers. So like, you do look at this game, it does feel different. It does feel like you do have like this 49ers team as a true, even though the Las Vegas has them as the favorites. I don't understand that, but like, to me they look like the underdog coming into this game. They look like this team that is wants to get over the hump for the first time since the 90s.
God, Tevin Coleman, Raheem Mostert that season, I guess, was the more.
Yeah,
that was Raheem Mostert year more than Tevin Coleman. I was looking at a roster of the 49ers, and Tevin Coleman was
right.
listed first.
So I guess my point of them is just like it does feel like the same team, but it really isn't. And there is a lot of different faces that are on this team this time. Like, but it is still Kyle Shanahan leading the way. It's still this defense that has been in this space and been wanting and dreaming to get back to the stage, and now they get to do it. Like, the fact that George Kittle, NFL Films picked him up in that Super Bowl after they lost that game, being like, I'm going to be back here. And the fact that he gets that opportunity now against the team that beat them, but now that Chiefs team is such more like a darker, like Darth Vader fucking team that you're now facing, that there's so much more public enemy. And they also have the power of Taylor Swift behind them. So, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, it's just, like, I don't know. I'm trying to spin this as something positive, and I'm like, I don't think I have, like, a massive rooting interest in this game. I do want the 49ers to win, I think.
Yep.
Just because it would be the first time since the 90s, like, and I would be fine with that. I also would not be, I think overall I'm going to be disappointed in how this season turned out no matter what. If the Chiefs happen to win again, I guess it's just like, oh well, okay. It's like, we're here. They did it. They repeat. They would be the first team to repeat since 2003, 2004 Patriots.
Yep.
Like, I'll hand it to them. Congratulations, and then we just turn our attention to next year.
Yeah. So I do want to say this too on regards to a dynasty, because I have had the privilege to live through one Chicago sports dynasty in my lifetime.
Yeah, the Blackhawks, right?
Being the Blackhawks, who won in 2010, 2013, and 2015.
Yeah.
Which is, about roughly what the Chiefs are doing right now.
Very good.
So, listen, when listen, I did not fucking watch hockey until that happened, but...
Of course. Many Kansas City residents probably didn't watch football either.
Probably, so. Yeah. So it's great. It is great to live through. Happy for Kansas City fans. Change your fucking mascot still, but
yes, no, yeah.
I do get the hype for Kansas City fans. Obviously you want more and you want more interesting stuff, and if the league was consistently rotating, I feel like having no structure wouldn't be great after a while.
Yeah.
But, it happens. It's what it is. It is what it is. This is what we're dealing with. Let's go 49ers.
Yeah. I'll just close with this in terms of the thoughts overall. Like, I think I already said this, but like there was like this part of me that like after the games that I was kind of like asking myself, like, why do I love this sport? Why do I keep coming back here and getting my heart broken? And I think it's just the chase. It's that chase for something fresh, something new, and like that high. And of course, there's the specifics of like the intensities of the game, and like how everything is, like every game really means something, and how like I don't think it's the most mind-blowing thing to sit here and say neither of us really care about the X's and O's. Like we don't really go into the nitty-gritty about that in terms of like specific defensive packages and specific routes that wide receivers need to run. We find joy in just watching the sport. The sport itself is very fun, but I think the emotional side of it is just that this want to see a team like the Lions, who had never made it to the Super Bowl and unfortunately is not going to make it this year, to finally break through. And who knows if they'll get back here, and who knows if Lamar Jackson will get back to this point. Someone who's been a quarterback who's been in the league, who's going to win his second MVP most likely next week and deserves it, but is still going to be talked about as like, well, he can't win in the big spots. He can't win. And like, it's so frustrating if you're a fan of these things, but the reason why we keep coming back and the reason why we love this sport so much is that We just want to hold out hope that finally something will break through. Something will happen. I remember feeling like this when the Patriots were just dominating everything. And look at the Patriots this year. Like, there is a world beyond where the Chiefs will finally fade away at some point. It may take a while. This is a young dynasty. But the Chiefs will fade away after some time. And so will a lot of these teams at the top. And you'll maybe get some of these teams that have never made it there to rise to the occasion and make the Super Bowl and win it all. It may take a while, but we'll always want to watch it because it is, the dream just is there. We're going to enter next year. We're going to always have hope that those teams that are not in it this year make it next year. And that's what football has been about for me, at least.
Yeah. You know, you can't have the glory without the pitfalls.
Exactly. Yep.
So
that's that. Like I said, if you want more in-depth analysis about what happened in this game, go somewhere else. Again, it's just gonna be repeating the same storylines that you guys already know about, though. The team that was supposed to take down the Chiefs made all the mistakes. The Chiefs played amazing when we thought they would not, and then the Lions blew a 17-point lead and just got their ass beat at the end. So that's it. That's the storyline. All right, we'll talk and predict the Super Bowl and everything next week. But for now, let us finally, after many a break, make another VBBFL team. We're going to focus on just making one today, and then of course we'll return next week and make our final team. So, but this is team number 7, and we're finally going to do it, folks. We're finally gonna make a Illinois football team.
I will finally let Chris put a football team in my state.
Yeah, and sure enough, we're going to put a football team in a city that most likely will have an NFL football team, or maybe in the coming years. That's Arlington Heights, Illinois. So in the meantime, that racetrack could be home to...
Yeah, if the Bears don't move, we gotta plan stadium already.
Right, there you go. Yeah, we'll take illegal residency there for a short period of time.
Squatters' rights.
Yeah, right. They damn right. All right. So let's talk about what Arlington Heights is. It is a village. It is a village with a population of 77,000, right on the outskirts of the city of Chicago. You had the Arlington Park racetrack, which again I believe is being could be turned into a future Bears stadium. Looking at what we got going on here, I you know what, Matt, I think if we can't find anything hyper specific to Arlington Heights, I think it's time that we break out the pizza.
We break out the deep dish.
The deep dish.
We are allowing pizza, and we are making the statement that the pizza represented in the VBBFL is Chicago deep dish. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for that association?
You know what, like, I hate food discourse. I think I decided long time ago. So I will say this. I'm going to ride whatever you feel is best. So I am okay with the idea of deep dish pizza being the spokesperson of the VBBFL. Because I'm like, I think New York pizza is amazing. I fucking love it. It's delicious. It's my favorite thing.
I just see that as like standard pizza, though. Like, I don't see it as
right. Okay,
so that's special kind of pizza.
This is why I don't want to have discourse. So, I all I'm saying is that I think Arlington Heights can be home to a team that wears the deep dish well.
Wears it proudly.
There
are other Chicago foods as well. If we wanted, I guess I was gonna say Italian beef. We do have the meat pockets.
We do have the meat pockets, yes. The Lincoln meat pockets.
The
Yeah, by the
Lincoln
way,
meat pockets.
it's been a while, so let's just recap what we have thus
Yes,
far.
yes, please.
The Holland Strulips,
Yep.
the Roswell Mozzarellians, the Havre de Gras Gloisters. This just grosses me out every single time I say
Havre de
that.
Gras Gloisters. This beautiful French name.
The Hattiesburg Root Kabirs.
Yep.
The Lincoln Meat Pockets, and the McMinnville Yamlocks, which
Yamlocks is so good.
But I forget what the locks part was.
I think Hamlock is the name of a tree.
That's right.
Or hemlock tree.
Right, and then we went Yamlocks.
We went Yamlocks. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
or Chicago style hot dogs. That's another food.
That's
option.
true. And we could talk about aspects of those too. Like,
yes.
Describe to me what makes a Chicago style hot dog.
So the big thing is that they don't put ketchup on it.
Right. Yes.
That's the thing that they're very anal about. I do not ascribe to this. It's like it's mustard, relish, usually pickle spear, onions, sometimes tomato. Those kind of things. It's almost like getting like burger toppings on a hot dog.
Sure. Did I ever tell you that in Bug Snacks there is they call it, I forget what I'm gonna forget what the name of it is, but it's like a weenie worm, but so the weenie worm is like the typical regular hot dog in that game, but they made a Chicago style called Shy Weenie Worm, but SHY, so it would run away from you. But it's meant to be a play on the Chicago
hot dog.
Yeah, like
CHI.
Yes, yeah. So
that's clever.
But there's an achievement in the game, or I forget if it's like an achievement or a mission or whatever, like a side thing, where something triggers when you basically slingshot ketchup onto it. It will literally hunt you down. It will chase after you. It'll be so pissed off.
Is no joke. The funniest fucking thing I've ever heard.
It's very good. It's clearly someone that knows about Chicago hot dogs and knows
Chicago humor goes a very long way for me for obvious reasons. There's a part of season 6 of BoJack takes place in Chicago, and all the fucking Chicago references there are so perfect.
Yeah. So they basically they knew what they were doing. They were like, let's just include this in here. And right. I forget if it's like an achievement or whatever it is. But it's very good.
One of my favorites being that, since it's a place, it's a world where animals live. Yeah. That the baseball team is the Chicago Baby Humans.
That's good. that's very good. All right. So I'm
anyway, pizza.
Yeah, all right. So I do like we could try to keep it towards the Arlington Heights. So one thing I
guarantee most things are going to be
horse related.
Well, yes, horse related, I guess. But I meant food wise, Chicago related.
Well, so I feel like food we got locked. I feel like where we could go in many different directions. I just feel like I'm trying to gauge the what is the other side of it? What's the aspect of Arlington Park or Arlington Heights rather?
There's a big lake here apparently.
Okay.
Never been.
Yeah. Look, I'm just trying to see. They do have they had a club called The Cellar for a short while that's well known.
The Cellar Dogs.
And they also have the Metropolis Performing Arts Center in downtown Arlington Heights. Let's see. They have the Mitsuwa Marketplace, which is a Japanese supermarket chain, and Lake Arlington, which is like in the middle of, like you mentioned, in the middle of everything.
Oh man, the famous people from Arlington Heights have its own fucking
there's a lot.
Its own fucking page.
That's a lot. Oh yeah, that's a lot of people.
Fucking Ted Nugent is from here. Fuck that.
Ooh. Yeah, I don't love that.
Jimmy Garoppolo, woo!
Jimmy Garoppolo is from. Oh man, we could call
He
someone.
went to. No, I shouldn't. I shouldn't dox that specifically. Do you know that Jimmy Garoppolo was in my recommended Facebook friends at one point?
Yeah, you sent me photos of it. I was like, huh, interesting.
That was weird.
Yeah, I guess so. I feel like if we did want to do a team dedicated to Jimmy Garoppolo in any way, it would just be
Pizzalo.
The Pizzalos.
Garoppolo. No.
Garopolizos. Garapizzalos. Oh my god,
that's very close to Portillo's, which is very funny to me.
Portillo. Well, isn't Portillo's a Midwestern thing, right?
It's a Chicago thing.
Yeah.
We got the fucking meat pockets.
We do have the meat pockets.
I don't even Chris, the worst part is I don't remember what the actual food is called.
From Lincoln, Nebraska. Yeah. You know what? It's better off that way. We just should not even look it up, you know? And if anyone from Lincoln, Nebraska shows up, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, you should know your own town better. You should know
what a meat pocket is.
You should just know what a meat pocket is and what it means to the great city of Lincoln, Nebraska.
Horses are racing is the best, I think, for us here.
I think so. So it's now it just comes down to how can we come to the forefront and merge that with a Chicago food item? Because there's a part of me that I think it would be funny if we did something with Breeders, because it was the home of the I'm sorry, it wasn't home to the Breeders' Cup. It was the it was home of the Arlington Million, which is which was the horse race that used to be there.
The Deep Dish Million.
The Deep Dish Million.
$1 million.
I
race dish, track dish, horse dish pizza. Awful name. Awful, horrible.
I'm trying to think of the various different terms. There's so many horse terms.
Like equestrian.
Yeah. And I feel like we could maybe squeeze in something on that front. I just saw the word stallion and I thought of scallion, but I don't think that has anything to do with anything.
No. Stallion style hot dogs. That's not a good.
No.
Who knew that horses and Chicago food would be so hard to merge into one thing?
who knew, right? I'm going to just start naming things. Mount. Okay. Charger.
Jockey.
Cobb. Oh, wait, Cobb. Wait, what? Okay, that's weird. Draft horse. Cart horse. Pack horse. Race horse. Pony. Pony, I feel like, maybe. Fowl. Colt, stallion, gelding, mare, filly, nag, hack, bronco, moke, Yoraman, steed, jade, and Gigi? Feel like the Arlington Heights Fill my belly with pizza.
Oh my god, Chris.
No, we're not doing it.
That's not it. That's just so funny.
We can't do it because it's too much, but it kind of is funny.
Yeah. Fill my belly with pizza.
I feel like if we're going down this route, pony, We could just do pizza ponies.
Pizza Ponies is
Not bad.
good. Yeah.
That's
got a ring to it at least.
Yeah. Or Steed. I feel like Steed would work.
Steed dish. That's so close, but it's not it.
I don't know if that's it.
Steed dish pizza, like that double D in there.
Oh man, it would be awesome if we could just make it like steep, and like it would be steep dish. But that wouldn't make any sense anymore. There's. Oh man. I'm trying to think of like sauce. Arlington Heights, it's under the sauce.
It's under the sauce. Where's the cheese? It's under the sauce. God, Steed dish is almost there.
It's so close.
Steed dish pizza.
Oh my god. Like it's so hard because it's like every little like thing I would want to bring into it, I'm just like wait, hold on. Here, how about this? The Arlington Heights Sauce Stallions.
Sauce Stallions?
Sauce Stallions.
Sauce Stallions.
You could do that or Pizza Ponies. It's like it's one of whatever one sounds. I mean, we can figure out others. I'm just throwing it out there. We want to like stick with like the alliteration type side of things.
I kind of like Pizza Ponies.
I kind of like Pizza Ponies too. If we want, we could double down and go deep dish Pizza Ponies.
I feel like that's a bit clunky.
It would be a lot. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I think that we would the people of Illinois will understand that when we're talking about pizza, we are talking about their pizza.
Oh yeah, and when Walsh does the logo,
yeah,
we'll make sure.
Well hey,
it's still pizza.
It's still pizza.
Yep.
Yeah, I think pizza. It's not the most flashy.
Yeah,
but
the problem is we do have a lot of pizza related colors already.
Okay, so describe what we already have.
We have red and yellow. We have red and charcoal. We have brown and orange. We have orange and green. So I feel like we got to do yellow of some kind.
Yeah. It's not the. We already have a brown, right?
We do, yeah. We have an orange and brown.
Yeah. Oh, that's rough. Unless we could change some things around color-wise for the other places.
Could always do that.
Because here's the thing, like, what's red and yellow? What's the red?
That's the Strulip, so we could realistically change like that red to purple or something.
I absolutely like. Yeah. I think that there is like tulips come in many different colors. We do not have to stick with that there.
Purple and yellow and purple and blue are different shades.
Yeah. Like if we want to do. I mean, there's so many different colors of tulips. Like you really could go in many directions there.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest ones are like red, purple, and yellow, but we can.
Yeah, and then
we can be silly
when it comes to pizza ponies. I feel like I think it. I mean I think you go red and yellow, but at the same time it's like
that's probably what you do.
Yeah,
we've done that a few times, but I'm okay doubling down at this point.
Yeah,
doubling up.
Yeah, that's fine. And again, this is all stuff that can be rearranged and worked out. If we like a name of a town, we can figure out like how we want to navigate like the color side of things. I'm not opposed to that. So to conclude, the final name that we've landed on is the Arlington Heights Pizza Ponies.
Very nice.
I like it very much. All right. Next week will be a banger. I think I already have a town picked out, and I again it was kind of a forced one because I feel like what I was using to pull out random towns did not have any consideration for the specific state that I wanted to pull. So we will do that next week. All right. With that being said, we would usually pick games at the end of this episode, but there's no games. So instead, we're gonna do predicting the final awards, because that is gonna be coming up. Probably we'll probably end up recording our Super Bowl episode maybe right before the awards ceremony, but we just figure let's just get these predictions out of the way now, because there's nothing that's gonna happen between now and then that's really gonna change anything. So. And besides, I think the results have been locked since the end of the regular season, so we could have been doing this at any point. So, with that being said, Matt, who do you have as your Offensive Player of the Year final prediction?
I will say Christian McCaffrey.
I think so too. I think that's my pick as well.
I think for a lot of the years between him and Tyreek Hill, I'll stick with him if they're going to give it to a non-quarterback. I think that he had just enough of a push throughout the regular season that I would be surprised if he did not land as the favorite, as the one to win it all, because I think he was getting more MVP pop than any other position player. Yeah, for sure.
Depoy
defensive.
I'm gonna go. I feel like it's been so long since the start of the regular season, or the end of the regular season, I should say. So I feel like so much has changed that you forget about a lot of these players. I think I'm going with Myles Garrett. I think this is his year to get it. Maybe not the most. I don't know if he's necessarily the most deserving. There might be other players that have played better, but he's the name that I think has popped up the most in this conversation. I think he's gonna win it.
Yeah, I feel good about him. He's basically the biggest reason why the Browns got as far as they did.
Yeah. Who is your Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Offensive Rookie of the Year, it is the one, the only CJ Stroud.
Yeah, this is the easy one. I think that is the biggest lock of anything. Maybe outside.
You can't get MVP chance in the middle of the season and then continue to play well and then not get O'Roy. At least
O'Roy. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
All right, my Droy.
My Droy. This was a weird one as well, just because I feel like the conversation around Droy was very under the radar. No one really was talking about it. Mm-hmm. I settled on Will Anderson. Figured the Texans might go 1-2 punch here.
I think that's smart. I'm gonna be a homer and pick Devin Witherspoon.
There you go.
ILL.
Your coach
of the year, I'm gonna stick it. Still give it to the man, the Campbell.
I hope Campbell gets it, man. That's who I wanted so badly to get it. I don't think it's going to be. I think the debate was really between Stefanski and DeMeco Ryans. I'm gonna go with my third straight Texans pick and say DeMeco Ryans for coach.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Your comeback player of the year.
Yeah, this one's odd. I think they're sticking with DeMar Hamlin. He definitely has played a good amount this season to probably get consideration. And I think that's all he really needed to do was just play at least a little bit. Because again, the fact that he's fucking alive is amazing. So I'm gonna give it to him.
Yeah.
Barring something, I guess, unforeseen.
Yep.
And finally, MVP.
MVP is, of course, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I think it's a lock. I think what did it was really the 2 games in a row where he demolished the 49ers, played amazing in that game. And when I say demolish, it was like a pretty they took care of business. They won that game pretty handily. And then they destroyed the Dolphins. Yeah. Just completely, utterly, ended their season, practically, right then and there. And so, he's just one of those quarterbacks that is super special in this league. I don't care about any sort of storyline about him not living up in the biggest moments. I get it. I get that's part of the conversation. Fine, whatever. I don't care. He's still an amazing player to watch. He's a lot of fun to watch, in my opinion.
Yep.
And with that is our predictions for the awards. Folks, thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode. It's a shorter episode than usual. Again, we don't really have much to talk about. There's not a lot of we're literally just coming off of the weekend that was the football. So really not much news happened. I think the Chargers hired a new GM. That's, I think, the only thing I know about. But beyond that, we'll probably sometime this week we'll get news about the Commanders and the Seahawks. They'll probably land their coaching candidates. We'll talk about that next week. We will talk about our final VBBFL team next week, and we'll close it all out by talking the Super Bowl that unfortunately is what it is. But again, I'll just keep a positive mind about it. Be like, maybe it'll just be a good game. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna watch anything Pro Bowl related. But if
probably
we do,
not. Take a weekend off.
Yeah, if there's something interesting that happens, we'll talk about it. Maybe we'll see.
Yep.
All right, guys, that's it. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Good night and good ball.